Hello everybody, I am the Nerdy Guy, and today we're gonna talk about Game of Thrones. For those who don't watch Game of Thrones, there's a character called Sansa Stark. Most people do not like Sansa Stark. And I'm gonna explain why in this video. And I want to clarify, this video will have spoilers for Game of Thrones, as long as you watch it, but as long as you watched up to Season 3, you'll be fine. I'm not gonna go further than Season 3 to prevent spoilers from people. And some of the things I mentioned will only have happened in the books, so don't get too confused. Those could be considered spoilers if you're planning on reading the books, but as long they're not major spoilers. There's a lot of people who dislike Sansa. Me, for example, I don't like her. And yes, okay, this is a tiny spoiler for something that happens further, but I'm warning you, spoiler alert! I know, she gets better after a while, but that hasn't happened yet. So if you're a person who read the books and you're pissed off to everybody who's upset with Sansa, doesn't like Sansa, you can't use that as an excuse like, oh, she gets better after a while. Yeah, I know that, but that hasn't happened yet in the show. Take that into account. Most people hate Sansa don't know that because they haven't read the books. But yes, she gets better later. But that's the reason now in the show, she's just annoying. Nobody likes her for reasons. And I'm gonna start off. In the Stark family, they have a bastard son. If you watch Joe, you know that, but Jon Snow, he is a bastard. So he's the kid's half-brother. Everybody still treats him like a brother. Robb Stark, he treats him like a brother. Bran treats him like a brother. Rickon is 3 years old, but even he treats him like a brother. And Arya, she treats him like a brother. Sansa, on the other hand, as soon as she learned the meaning of bastard and half-brother, she was extremely cold with him. She never referred to him as brother, she always liked half-brother. She kept correcting Arya whenever she called him brother. No, half-brother. Like that, she was always cold towards Jon. Just because the way he was born. She was the only person in the Stark family not to do this, not to treat him like a brother. Yeah. Second, she and her friend made fun of Arya. Her friend called Arya Horseface. Now, yes, Sansa didn't create that nickname, but she didn't stop it either. And as a person who had a problem with bullies when I was a kid, as much as I hate people who bullied me, I also hate teachers who didn't stop it when they had the opportunity to do so. Sansa didn't create that nickname, but she didn't stop it. Her best friend called her sister Horseface, and she didn't give any fucks about it. And the best thing to bring up with Arya is that whenever people hate Sansa, people always blame like, oh, look at her upbringing, she was brought up, she was raised to be this way. Yeah, so was Arya. Yet Arya turned out different. And people still like Arya. A lot of people brings up that the people who hate Sansa are misogynists. No. You need to look up the definition of misogynist, because misogynist does not mean hate one woman. It means hate all women. Dislike all women. And since most people who dislike Sansa, like me, still like Daenerys, Ygritte, Arya, Marjorie, well, pretty much every other woman in the show, except Sansa. We are not misogynist, we simply don't like Sansa. And then later on, as the kids get their wolves, Sansa names her Lady, and Arya names her Nymeria after a warrior princess in the show. And that happened a long time ago. She was a warrior princess. Both Septa Mordane and Sansa gave Arya shit for that, because that was not proper. That was not what a lady would do. Now let's get to something that happened in the books. What happened in the show? Well, partly happened in the books, because in the books you get to read a lot more as they travel through King's Landing. And during travel, Arya hangs out with her friend Micah. And Sansa keeps pointing out that she shouldn't do that, because that's not proper. You shouldn't hang out with a butcher's boy, ew. I mean, he's poor, ew. And then in the show, Sansa hangs out with Joffrey. And Joffrey and Sansa walks up again and finds Arya practicing fencing with Micah, her friend. And Joffrey decides to show off his big cojones to Sansa. So he starts lecturing the butcher's boy, Micah, about how he's not a knight and he shouldn't dream about being a knight. And it ends up with him taking the sword and cutting him here. And when Arya yells for him to stop, Sansa goes, "No, Arya, stay out of this!" Yeah, because she has nothing to do with the fact that Joffrey is currently cutting her friend's face open for no reason. No! So it ends up with Arya, she takes her stick and hits Joffrey on the back with it. This results in Joffrey chasing her with his sword, yelling, "I'll gut you, you little cunt!" And then ends up getting her put on the ground and puts his sword through his throat. This results in Nymeria, Arya's wolf, to attack Joffrey to make sure he stops. So the wolf bits him in his hand, leaves a pretty nasty wound, and Arya takes his sword, throws it in a river, and then run away with Nymeria. Now later when Sansa runs up to Joffrey and goes like, "Oh, my prince, what did I do to you?" He's not kind, he's nothing. He goes, "No, don't look at me! Leave me alone! Go away!" Yeah, because... fuck logic. Later, Arya is brought in front of the king. Because Joffrey claimed that the butcher's boy and Arya attacked her for no apparent reason, and then when he tried to run away, they sicked the wolf on him. Yes, that's totally what happened. And Arya, of course, tells the truth, because Arya is awesome. So they bring in Sansa, since she was an eyewitness of this. Now, Sansa could have told the truth. She decided to go, "I don't remember. Why the fuck? Why didn't you just tell the fucking truth? And the best part is, as a result of this, Sansa's wolves get killed. And Nymeria gets a prize on her head, but since she's running free, that doesn't matter. But the Queen is forcing Ned Stark to kill Lady. Yeah. Sucks to be you, Sansa. But how does Sansa handle this? This was like 90% her fault. She blames Arya, and she blames her dad for killing Lady. She doesn't blame the Queen who forced him to do it. She doesn't blame Joffrey who attacked Micah for no apparent reason. Also, Micah dies because the Hound, the character, kills him. No, she blames Arya and her dad. And people wonder why we don't like her. She spends the rest of the first season being a complete bitch to everybody. I mean, she's even a bitch to Septa Mordane, her teacher. She's a complete bitch. And then in the books, she tells the Queen that Ned Stark found a book with information about like everybody in the entirety of Westeros. And he reads it, and he goes through and realizes that Joffrey's looks don't really quite fit in with a Baratheon, because Baratheons usually have black hair and they're big and muscular. Joffrey has nothing of that. So Eddard started putting things together, and he realizes that something's not quite right here. And what does Sansa do? She tells the Queen that he's looking in the books and that he's noticing something. So the Queen starts realizing he knows. Long before Eddard tells her that he knows, she already knew that he knew, because Sansa told her. And when Ned Stark plans on sending his daughters home, what does Sansa do? She runs and tells the Queen. She runs and tells Cersei that he's planning on sending them home. This results in her being locked up in a tower, while the Lannister soldiers running around slaughtering everybody of the Stark household. The only reason she's stuck in King's Landing because of in season 2 is because she told the Queen that she was going to send home. If she would have just kept her fucking mouth shut, then she would have been in Winterfell. She wouldn't have been trapped with Joffrey. And the best part is, Ned even tells her, don't trust the Lannisters. The Lannisters are planning something, don't trust them. And what does she do? Trust the Lannisters! Yay! Being a dumbass! Like I said, people wonder why we don't like her. And through the entirety of the first season, she completely ignores that Joffrey is a psychopath. Everybody says he's a psychopath. Everybody, it's apparent to everybody that Joffrey is a psychopath. Even the king states that something is wrong with that boy. And claiming that he failed as a father because he should have given him a bit better upbringing. But no, Sansa refuses to see it. No, he's the prince. Oh my god. She's so stupid. And then the second season, well, it gets better. I mean, we actually feel sorry for her for the treatment she receives, but keep in mind, she's only there because of her own fault. But yeah, we start to feel a bit sorry for her. Then in the third season, she starts getting friendly with Marjorie, and she doesn't understand what is obvious to everybody, that the only reason that the Tyrells want her is because they want Winterfell. They're using her as a pawn. She won't refuse to understand that they don't really give a shit about her. I mean, we spent the first season being stupid and annoying. The second season, well, it got a little better. And third season, she's back to being stupid. One thing I really don't like about Sansa is that she doesn't have her own identity. I mean, in the first season, she goes from wearing her head like she always done, like a northerner does. She starts wearing it like a southern lady wears her hair. She changed it. Well, fine. But then in the third season, when she started hanging out with Marjorie, then she changed it and started having her hair the way Marjorie does. Sansa is completely without her own identity. She just copies something that everybody else does. And it has been brought to my attention that that's something that's common in a lot of women, a lot of younger girls, because they're so insecure about themselves. But I want to point out, if you don't have an identity, nobody likes you. I mean, stop worrying about society and everybody else is gonna think, and start copying everybody else and start liking what everybody else does. Be yourself. Or you can be one of the many annoying clones out there. Or you can just be yourself, and people will appreciate you so much more. And Sansa's hair is a perfect example of this. She doesn't have any identity of her own. She just copies the hairstyle of whatever she wants to fit in with. And I don't get it. People don't like her for a reason. It's not misogyny that makes people don't like her. It's the fact that she's not an interesting character. She's boring. And she's stupid. And she fucked up everything. She more or less had her own dad killed. And she refused, like I said, she refused to see that Joffrey was a psychopath. It took the fact for him to cut her dad's head off for her to realize that he was a psychopath. Like I said, it was apparent to everybody that it was so, except her. She completely blind towards that. And in the second season, even the queen states that something's wrong with her kid. And she loves him, yet even she can see that something is definitely wrong with him. But I want to conclude this. I don't like Sansa. I have reasons not liking Sansa, and I know she gets better later on, but that hasn't happened yet in the show. Keep that in mind before you bitch about it. And hating Sansa is not misogyny. Not more misogyny than hating Joffrey's misandry. Hating Sansa is something we do because we don't like Sansa. It's not misogyny, and hating Joffrey is not misandry. Now, I am the Nerdy Guy. If you like this video, then subscribe, please. I need more subscribers. Leave a comment, tell me what you think about Sansa, and rate this video, thumb up, thumb down. I really don't care. I should do it the other way around. There we go. I really don't care as long as you rate it, I'm fine. And, well, I'm the Nerdy Guy, and you just watched a Nerdy Guy rant. Bye.